Ciarán, just a question there on partnerships and the limits that's there. Is it simple double, or you might just?
It's the same as TAMS 2, so it's 160 for partnership. So they get 160 up to the 60%. Yeah.
Okay, 160, right?
And
okay.
90 for an individual.
Okay, thank you.
Could I clarify something, Kevin?
Go ahead, Jack.
There's a couple of things there. If people haven't got TAMS approval or haven't a shed built, what's going to happen? Well, they'll have to make some other arrangement, you know, to meet organic requirements. But the organic requirements aren't going to change because somebody didn't get a shed built in time. You know, the requirement to have the lie-back area 50% straw bedded. So you'll have to make, you know, make other arrangements, but it won't be an excuse, and the regulations won't be adjusted. There was also a question there around why second-hand equipment can't be grant aided, and my understanding is because it's so difficult to value it. But maybe Dermot or Ciarán want to comment on that. And I can't see second-hand equipment being grant aided ever.
No, there's no way we wouldn't ever get involved in grant aiding second-hand equipment. It's never been grant aided, as far as I'm aware, in any scheme.
Yeah,
I think it's in the EU regs as well, isn't it? Or it has to be new.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. And there's good. I mean, the reasons you mentioned, the big one, the valuation and whether there's value for money for the taxpayer then afterwards if second-hand kit breaks down. No, it's just too much hassle.
Yeah, and apple harvesting equipment and other equipment that will be covered under the horticultural scheme that will open later in the year.
I go to horticulture for that for the moment. It's not listed with us. Anything horticultural is not listed in the TAMS list. I'd recommend horticultural producers try our colleagues in the horticulture division.
And Kevin, I just had one more.
Fruit, mushrooms, whatever headings are not in our list, or who don't might not meet the same eligibility criteria. It's always worth trying horticulture.
Yeah, sorry, Jack, go ahead there.
Sorry, there was someone asking there, they have an organic meat distribution license on my organic farm, and would a packing shed and new freezers be eligible? But I presume, Seamus or Kevin, that's OPIC, that's the organic processors grant.
That would be covered under OPIC,
yes,
yeah.
That would be OPIC, yes.
And if you want to apply for that, if someone is listening and they want to apply for that, what should they do?
Contact the organic unit. And
here in Johnstown Castle.
In Johnstown Castle, the OPIC, that's the Organic Processing Investment Grant Scheme, and that'll be opening shortly. So any queries, it's organic@agriculture.gov.ie.
Just in relation to on-farm businesses and farm shops and enterprises like that are on farms, you know, we've had a few queries about that in terms of the solar capital investment scheme. So any power used by those farm processing businesses on site using mainly produce would be granted for solar scheme for sure.
And a topper behind the quad is eligible for grant aid, isn't it, with its own engine? It's listed there in the list of items.
If it's listed as there, it's eligible, yeah.
And direct drills are eligible under the tillage section, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
They are, yeah.
And I see a question there about planning permission. Does a hay store require planning permission in an existing yard? Well, I think that's all down to the local authority, isn't it?
That's the local authority, yeah. Yes, the local authority rules there. Yeah, I mean, check the exemptions. It's exemptions for certain buildings, and just, you know, but yeah. If we have a tab, if we have a list, if it says planning permission on our tabs on the spreadsheets with the details, and when you come to make the application, and if there is a requirement to upload the planning permissions, but you have an exemption, that's what you upload there is your exemption, or a letter explaining why you have the exemption. That will do in cases, in solar cases, for example, where it's exempted development. We don't have a blank document yet for declaring exemptions, but we will have one up in due course before claim stage.
How long is approval for, and what happens when it runs out? Do you have to reapply?
Approval is for 12 months for all items now, and if you apply for an extension before it runs out, it'll be extended for 6 months initially. And obviously you can apply again but there'll be a cut-off eventually, you know, it's just.
Where do I get the spec? Well, again, as the lads have said, Dermot, you might repeat it there. The spec is available on the department site, isn't it?
Yeah, they're specific. There's a whole list of specification documents available. If you go into the TAMS page, a main TAMS page, just go in under the department website and search through schemes and go to TAMS. It's a bit of a chore going through it, but you could just Google TAMS specs, TAMS 3 specs or TAMS specs, and it'll bring you to the relevant pages. And there's loads of documents there. And there's a document on the TAMS headings there as well, which will give you the reference to the various specs docs that you need. Just let me see what the
TAMS 3 list of eligible items is called, that one, Dermot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It says if you need planning or what specs to refer to and what investments are available.
Kevin, there's another question there asking if the farmer at the in-conversion stage is eligible for grant, or is it just the farmer that has the full organic status? So it's in conversion and the full organic status.
Yes. And a participant in the organic farming scheme for the higher rate, the 60%. And I think there was a question there as well, and thanks for reminding me, Seamus, that I'm in the scheme, but I haven't got paid yet. But this particular person, I presume, applied in November, December last year and got approval. So they're approved.
Yeah, approval is okay. We're not. You don't have to have the cash first, but once you've been approved, we'll take you in. That's no problem. Yeah. So you can apply now, for example, and apply in the next tranche or tranche after. That's no problem, you know.
How long does it take after you submit your invoices and the completed claim form to get paid?
Good question. Ciarán, would you?
It depends on how good the information is that's submitted, as far as I know, isn't it? Or if there's a whole lot of queries, it's going to take longer.
If all the paperwork is in order,
mobile equipment,
it can be fairly rapid. But if there's any queries or any holdups like that, or if the documents aren't right or something, it could go on for months again, you know. And again, it all depends how quickly you respond to queries. I mean, we're kind of hoping in a way, I know it's maybe a lot to hope for, but we're kind of hoping that in some ways the agri-snaps might make things a little bit simpler from our perspective. At least we'll know that the investment is there and we don't have to stress ourselves too much with reams of paperwork to confirm it. We can use that later, in effect, if they're selected for inspection or whatever. But yeah, we'll do our best to streamline as much as we can, quick as we can for the payments.
Just on that there, Jack, yeah, I would have noticed about 2 to 3 weeks after you put the claim in, if there's no issues with the mobile equipment, it was always very quick. The money would be in accounts. Farmers were always happy. The kind of thing that might delay it, quite often what might delay it or where the query would be raised would be if you applied for a 3-meter disc and tine cultivator, and next thing on the invoice, the dealer doesn't quite call at that, even though you did purchase it. Everything has to match, and it's very important to stress that you know.
Could I clarify another thing there?
Any discrepancy can cause confusion. Let's put it that way.
So sorry, Jack. Yes.
Just on the 60% grant for organic farmers, like it's come up again there. If you leave the scheme, what happens? Well, if you leave the scheme, we discussed it earlier, we'd be looking for a clawback then of the 20% that you weren't eligible for, but 95 or 6% of people stay in organic farming. There's a question above it then about cattle handling facilities, and they are eligible at the 60%. Like organic farmers get 60% across all items. Just on somebody, just on if I have a swinging door on a shed, can I take down that door now and get granted to replace it with a roller or a sliding door, or do you want me to leave it up until the application is approved?
I don't know is the short answer to that, to be honest, Jack. I'd say if, unless there's a safety issue there or a good reason to remove it, I'd be inclined to wait until you get the approval on that one, just in case, you know. It's kind of it's semi-movable, isn't it? Semi-mobile.
Yeah, so wait might be the best response unless there's an
The
issue.
safest response would be to wait, yeah. I mean, look, send in a specific query when the time comes and we'll see what we can do on it, but just to be safe, I'd say hold on for the moment till we get everything sorted out.
Thanks.
And just bear in mind as well that you'll have noticed with some of the figures we put up, and this is common to a lot of the schemes, that less than half of the applicants who are approved actually end up claiming the grant. So, you know, there's plenty of scope there for people to get in, provided everything is right and they're willing to invest. The money will be there. We're anxious to spend the money, so we won't delay as best we will, is what I'm saying. We have the money, we will pay it. and our biggest issue is getting people to claim it once we've approved it. That's a big fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through them and I might have missed some, but if has anyone else any
calf feeders are approved, you know, in
Yeah.
you get grant aid for calf feeders, so then you get 60% on it in organics.
Yeah.
I think, Kevin, you've covered nearly everything.
And I think
There's a
calf
spec.
feeders
Yeah,
are mobile.
there's specific. Sorry, Dermot.
They're mobile as well, so you can if there's a pressure on to buy those, you can take it at your own risk as well.
Yeah, there appears to be a lot of specific issues, as in, is a certain thing grant aidable, but again, go to the website and you will find it there. And
I encourage your planners to do the same. Make sure your planners do the same thing. You know, it's important to, there is plenty of scope there for pieces of equipment that you mightn't have thought of if you didn't look through the list, you know.
And where the spec, Dermot, if somebody wants to get the spec now after this, where did it go?
Just give me 1 sec now, and I see, can I find the actual, I had it up there a few minutes ago. Yeah, you see there's a web. Yeah, if you go back to
specification document, it says 170.
Yeah, if you go back through my slides, if you want to go back to the slides I was showing you to start, there is a website reference there. I could give it to you now, but I don't know how I put it up on the screen.
It's just the department website, or if you Google TAMS spec, it'll come up with a magic.
Yeah, I mean, if you Google TAMS 3 support documents, that's the one. TAMS 3 support documents, that'll bring you into a page which has explanatory notes, reference costs, equation calculations, spreadsheets, tank costing spreadsheets, all that kind of stuff, which you're going to need for, and there's explanatory notes. They're all listed on that page. There is a link to it in the presentation I gave, but like I said, try do a Google with TAMS 3 support documents, and it'll bring you to the web page probably as quick as anything.
Okay,
and like there are multiple specifications, and there's a lot of detail in some of them.
Somebody has put it up on the questions there. So the very last question, thanks to Albert for putting it up. If people want to just copy and paste it out of there in the questions, it's actually there, which is great.
Jack, I don't know, do the members of the public see these questions?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I'll copy that maybe, and we put it in the chat.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
There's a question there has appeared a couple of times, guys, just there in relation to someone wants to put in a new cattle race and handling area and apply for a TAMS grant. They're in the organic farming scheme. Do they apply through AUKUS or through the FSIS?
Again, that'd be their choice. They could do it whichever one suits them. If they wanted to maintain the ceiling in organics for other equipment and then claim under the farm safety, be perfectly entitled to do that. As far as I know.
It's all the one ceiling, Dermot.
No, sorry, it's all the one ceiling. Yeah, no, it's less and it's less that you can have separate ceiling for and solar. Yeah. But you'd have to make your own mind up which one you went for there. But it would cover your ceiling would be covered whether it was in the farm safety or the organics.
Should it be better with the 60% then?
Yeah. The farm safety 60 as well.
Oh, is
Farm
it?
safety 60 as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So in the case of organics, the ceiling will apply. So it's up to them to decide.
Front loader on a tractor, that's mobile equipment, I presume, is it?
Yeah, very popular, as you can see from the list.
Yeah.
Again, handling equipment like forks, dung handling equipment, hay handling equipment, all that kind of stuff, very popular in TAMS too.
Yeah. And can you use up the whole 90,000 on a shed, say? You know, the whole
Yes, you
90,000,
can.
just one structure. It doesn't have to be divided
So,
out.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or on a robot, whatever. You know, that's. I think the robot is down at I don't know exactly 100,000 or something like that for a robot. Is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So you could buy your robot if you want to, if you're into dairy and things.
Could I just clarify again on the organics? It's come up with a couple of people there. People that come into organic and get a 60% grant, yeah, we'd expect it to remain organic. Somebody has asked the question. So
I
yeah,
think
the
so
60%.
too. Yeah. I think
it
we
applies
would
to
too.
organic farm.
Yeah. If you must remain an organic farmer to maintain the minimum 40% grant. If you drop out of the OFS, then you lose the top up. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it's fair enough. Do you need a safety training course done for mobile equipment?
Yeah. All applicants have to do it.
Yeah. It's no harm that people do it routinely and regularly anyway. I suppose from a wider perspective, you know, we'd be encouraging it.
I think you're nearly there, Kevin.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to highlight, Brian is after saying there the cattle crush is only in farm safety, so just if you're applying for a cattle crush, farm safety is the way to go.
Okay. Our time is up at 12:30, Kevin, so I'd say.
Okay, no, that's fine. So look at if people still have further queries, and they can contact the department and the emails that Ciarán outlined in his presentation. And just thanks to everyone, thanks to Martin from Teagasc, and thanks to our contributors here, and thanks for you as attendees as well. I think it was very worthwhile, and organic capital investment, a 60% grant. You know, if it's a good opportunity to upgrade. Yeah. And Jack, if you have anything further to add there.
Yeah, just somebody put in, thanks to everybody, a great webinar. So I think we should finish on that. Thanks very much to everybody attending, and we'll see you all in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All the best. All the best.
Thanks.